All right. Part two. Part two of this one. Please don't forget to smash the like. But let's do a quick synopsis of the first part one synopsis. So as I was going over the stuff, one of the first dynamics that we came across, of course, men hate to lose, women love to win. Respect is needed for survival for men, and with women, it's not necessarily respect, it's vanity. Men are honor driven, meaning they value honor. It is very much ingrained in them, whereas for women, not so much. They lack honor. That's where I left off that first one. And I did want to give a little more insight into that, because there were some examples that I left out, actual, real, true history examples pertaining to the women like to win, men hate to lose scenario, as well as honor and respect and how vital it is for men's survival. And women don't really care too much for it. And I thought, what about back in the day, medieval times, when there was fighting, with swords, before guns were a thing, where there was actual honor in the field of battle. Men actually respected and honored their vows. They'd say something and it'd be like, hey, I dedicate my life to the kingdom, and they fight to die for the kingdom, right? During that time. A good example of that and how honor absolutely plays a part with men and does not so much play a part with women. Even though it's fictional, it is a fairly decent example with Game of Thrones. I am currently watching that. I take little snippets here and there from situations that are based off of real, true human intentions. Because the best stories are usually based off of true nature. They show proper character arcs and everything based off of true nature. They're not just written poorly just because somebody wanted something to happen. They're usually based off of how someone actually would operate in the real world. And one of the dynamics that seems to happen a lot, especially with the episodes I'm watching now, the winter is coming parts, where they're fighting at the Castle Black, they call it, whatever, on the wall. They're preparing for the White Walkers and whatnot. Well, up to this point, there's been a lot of situations where the guy vowed his life, or he made a creed or a vow where he's going to dedicate his life to protecting the wall or protecting the kingdom. And he's like, I got to go out here, even though his life was in jeopardy and he knew it, but he made a vow, he made a promise, and he had to uphold it for his honor and for his family's legacy. And almost, I gotta do this while I get back in. And almost unanimously, while he's trying to uphold that vow, and like I said, it's based off of reality, because this is true also, in the real world. You can look at historical texts and everything, and this was common even then, where the guy had to uphold his family's honor and respect for himself, right? He made a vow to pledge his life for something. And more times than not, especially when the odds weren't in his favor and when his life was going to be in jeopardy or danger, and he really didn't have any real obligation outside of the fact that he vowed to do so, his woman that he was with was pretty much like, fuck your honor. Fuck that vow. Fuck all that nonsense. Why the hell would you do that? And you know that there's a chance you're going to die. Because remember, the character traits that I said for females is narcissism, which is, of course, she wants to live. Therefore, she's not going to risk her life for something that just because she vowed to do so. Hell no. This is why I say women lack honor. I don't mean that they lack it to the sense they don't have it. It's just it's not crucial to their to how they operate. With men, and this is why it's so relevant to men, because respect is a vital part of being a man. It's because when you vow to say something, your word is your bond as a man. And once you go against your word, men lose respect for you. That's why honor, when you honor something, either a system or a vow that you pledge or you make, that's why it's so crucial for a man. And that's why I said what I said, and why respect is so critical as a man. I gave good example as to why that is in part one. But when those guys in the medieval times, when they made those vows and they pledged their lives to a kingdom or whatever, they do so to their death. And more times than not, if they had a woman and she knows, like, hey, our lives aren't directly in danger, so we can actually get away from this if we just run or if you just don't go. And she'd be like, yeah, fuck your honor, stay here with me and live. Because because she doesn't care about the honor, or she might, to some extent, some women actually do. They can be accepting of it. That's usually what happens. A woman can be accepting, and she knows her man is going to uphold his honor. And eventually, even if he does perish, it might even actually benefit her, because now she can prove that she had ties to a man that was honorable and respectable. And even though he perished, any future prospects will know, hey, she was able to get this one honorable, respectable man. Therefore, he perished, and she might make a good wife for me as well. So it actually would benefit her anyway. But outside of her being accepting of it, the problem is she'll probably have to do more work, because, mind you, the guy she's with currently, she's probably been with him for a while, or she's done work, or she's gotten tied to him that, she's bonded with him. And outside of that, she's probably a little bit older than she used to be. We only get older. So she's going to have to do more work to get a similar caliber of man. This is a potential example as to why, even though him dying in honor might benefit her, it's still not an overall benefit to her, because now she just lost her protector and provider, and now she has to get another one. And now it might be harder for her to get one if she's older, because now that nostalgia that kept him to her isn't there anymore. So yeah, almost unanimously, and for those of you who are familiar with Game of Thrones, you know exactly what I'm talking about. She'd be like, yo, fuck your honor, fuck your vow, come live with me, let's run our way, we go live with each other. Now, on the man's part, a guy, like I said, the guy understands that if he doesn't respect his vows, if he doesn't honor whatever code or system he's part of, he knows he will forever live the rest of his life in a state of disrespect, in a state of which is dangerous, because remember I told you the benefits of respect. But when a guy's living a life where his word is no longer his bond, like people, this is another reason why guys don't. It doesn't really benefit guys when they lie, because when a guy enters a state where he's a known liar or a vow breaker, or he's dishonorable, he's free game pretty much. Like no other guy really knows, like that guys know, they take him from that point on. You're danger. You're a threat. All the stuff that you have is at risk, because it doesn't matter if you're able to accumulate a bunch of wealth and stuff if you can't protect it. So everything you accumulated is now at risk, because now you're in a state of dishonor, and the state itself no longer recognizes or honors your status. So that guy, and this is another part when it comes to foresight, like guys look into, we look a little farther into the future because we like to plan and think linearly. And this is going to come in later. Whereas women more so tend to think in the now. She's only thinking of the now, the short term. You can die. That's not a benefit. She's not thinking about, okay, if he does stay and he does not uphold his honor, now y'all gonna live a lifetime in disrespect, and now everything's on it. Now even then she's going to have a problem then, but she's not thinking about then. She's thinking about now. As the guy knows I'm not going to live in a disrespect. I'm not going to dishonor my, because it can also trickle down to your family. You know, the sins of the father trickle down on his son. So now your son has to do more work. So that's why as men, we do uphold our honor and respect, usually. However, it can backfire because all's fair in love and war. It is honorable to fight your opponent fair in the battlefield. Did that happen all the time? Nope. Because when it's a life or death situation, real time, in a heat of a moment, you can tell how honorable you fought in the battlefield and whatnot, but you absolutely know you was kicking dudes in the nut, and you was gouging out eyes and spitting and doing all this dirty little tricks and stuff. You were definitely fighting without honor during the battlefield, but you lived. Therefore, you get to tell the story. Similar to how society is today. White people are on top for a reason, not because they fought honorably. No, it's not honorable to be accepted into someone's household and then stab them in their back when they sleep, using trickery and tricks versus actually straight up fighting someone man to man. No, there was no honor in that, but at the end of the day, they lived and they won. That's what mattered. And then they were able to make the rules of the next system, which is, okay, now we have the power, so now let's make a system to help us keep the power. So now honor matters on how you make your money, even though it's easier for those who already have the wealth and money to make money. But let's overlook how they got it. Let's just hey, let's fight fair now. And that's why that's just the way. That's why honor, it plays a part in men, but at the same time, let's just be realistic. There are parts to it where, you fought fairly. That's what you can tell that story. Well, let's just be real. There was definitely some people that fought dirty because they wanted to live, and then they tell the battles of glory and what they want to make it look honorable because they understand they can't tell, it's not favorable not to. But those are rare situations because those are rare situations because the risk is far greater if a guy lies. Because usually guys got a lot. For you to benefit, you have to lie about something that you can actually verify. Now, another good example, not so much just the honor part, but also how when it comes to the losing and the winning part, and all of them kind of together, was I didn't talk about Helen of Troy, and how you had a woman who was in a situation where she was married to like a powerful guy. He was one of the most powerful kings at the time in that area, in that region. Apparently Helen was beautiful, but she didn't really like her husband, despite his power. And she met a guy. I forgot. I can't go over his name because I didn't look it up right now. But she met a guy, and she liked him better. He was part of another kingdom, and she knew her husband. She knew her husband had the power and the ability where if she ran off with this other guy, she knew to some extent that there would be consequences. Thus, what happened. There was absolutely a war. There could be whatever narrative people want to put out there, but let's just be real. If I were to break it down, well, she probably had sex with this guy outside of her marriage. She didn't, like I said, she didn't care about the honor part. She wanted what she wanted. She saw a better looking man, a more just man, whatever, even though she was married to a powerful man at the time. And that guy, I'm pretty sure he understood, hey, if I take this guy's wife, sorry for the background noise, if I take this guy's wife, he is absolutely going to come at me, and there's going to be war. There's going to be a war if I take this guy's wife. So he actually had more incentive. Okay, we had our fun. I'm going to move on. Let's get on with our life because I don't want this. I know where it's going to lead to. He might have been starstruck or whatever. There is a possibility of that. But you know what I think? If they did have sex before he left, I feel like Helen was like, yeah, you ain't about to leave me here. Because guess what? Either you going to take me with you. Because mind you, They probably did like each other. He's like, hey, if you don't take me with you, yeah, he gonna find out what we did, and there's gonna be war anyway. There's a potential that happened too. So yes, there was an entire war because of the love of a man and a woman. Now, let's continue on. There were some additional parts that I wanted to talk about. That was like the synopsis of part one. Uh, Jesus Christ. Hold on, guys. I gotta answer this. Let me play some music while I do this. Go ahead. Alright. Hopefully get back to it. Alright. The next part. This is more so like this is just something I kind of threw in here just because it actually is something where guys are more so goal oriented in a way. whereas women are more so result oriented, meaning for the guy, we talk about honor. Uh, all this background. Stop. Stop. Stupid technology. Now, for a guy, there is honor in the way, the path to success. I also talk about suffering and all that other stuff and how it relates to, the things you overcome, where it's like, I'm successful in spite of all these things I had to overcome. It actually it garners more respect. Actually, there's more honor, getting it the hard way versus just getting it the easy way. Because usually the easy way, it usually ain't the legal way. If I just gotta say it. So that's why when it comes to goals, go the guy's like, hey, like I was able to do this, I was able to do that. It's like the journey, like it's on the journey, the path. And to being a guy, the reason why that's critical is because you got to build yourself into a man, a complete, well-rounded man. You're not just born a man. You're not born knowing how to do what you got to do. You have to make yourself into a man. Some men have more help than others, but don't nobody care whether or not you were able to accomplish it. Because, as I said, women are results oriented, meaning they don't care why you are or why you aren't a successful man. All they know is you aren't a successful man, therefore, I don't want you. All they care about are the results. What have you been able to accomplish? They don't care about how you accomplished them. And when I say that, I do mean the majority of women today, at least in the Western society. Yes, that is how they are. Pretty sure you guys can probably recall the reaction videos where the guy would ask the girls, like, would you rather date a doctor who had to do all this extra stuff? He got his money the right way, or would you rather be with the drug dealer? He got more money the fast way, but it was absolutely illegal. And the women were absolutely okay with being with the drug dealers. They saw a little bit of excitement, a little thrill to it, but at the same time, they don't care about how you get it. All they care about is you got it. Now there are some exceptions, of course. There always will be the group of women and men that are the exceptions. But even then, it's still opposed because as long as you aren't at risk of being in jail, like say for example Jay-Z, you can get your money the fast way, but as long as you can flip it and make it legit, I don't. Most women don't see no problem with that. They'll just sweep it up under the rug. Oh, they don't. All they need to know is we got it. They don't need to know how we got it. Yeah, let's just sweep that up under the rug. So even the women that will say, "Oh yeah, I want the doctor because he makes the good money and everything," even though the other guy makes like 4 or 5 times as much money. Yeah, that's a lie. They're just saying that because they know it sounds good. They know that drug dealer is at risk of being locked up. But here's the kicker. What if you were to say, oh, well, neither of them will be, because mind you, the doctor, he could still get locked up for malpractice or something like that too. There's still a risk. They don't tell you about that. But at the same time, let's just say, hey, both of these guys are going to live to the same age. Neither of them are going to get, run into trouble by the law. You got to ask in context, and then they'll really tell you what they think. Well, if that were the case, 9 times out of 10, they'll pick the drug dealer because he's got more resources. They don't care about how you get it. As long as they're secure, they feel secure, they feel somewhat safe. Some women actually like the chaos. They actually embrace the chaos thanks to the chaotic nature of women. Some women actually find excitement in that and living that fast lifestyle. But as long as you got it, they don't care about how you get it. For guys, on the other hand, it is different. Like I said, that guys operate on the sense of honor and respect. If you got the money the good way, you outperformed all these other guys the legit, proper way, you get respect for that. More guys are willing to do business with you. More guys are willing to stand up and fight with you. because hey, we got honor. We're gonna protect what we got. And you're an honorable man. You got your money the right way and all that other stuff. Because to the guys that get their money the fast way, the illegitimate way, it is a risk because God, remember what I said, guys hate to lose. It is a risk that if I associate myself with you, if you go down and our businesses are intertwined, that leaves my business at risk because I now know that you're doing something illegal, improper. I'm not trying to risk that because I ain't trying to lose like that. There's no honor in that. There's no honor amongst thieves. You know that saying. I can't respect that because one, you're not really out competing the competition because you're not even playing by the rules. You're cheating. So you can't respect the guy who's not playing by the rules. There's no honor in that. So yeah, guys are goal oriented. The process matters to guys. Guys actually care about how you get your money, how you get the respect you got, because they have to. Women don't give. All they care about is what. I think people talk about this like all the women are pretty much hanging out by the finish line. They don't care about the dudes running and racing. All they care about who finished first. They sit by the finish line. That's pretty much a good analogy for it. All they care about are the results. That's what I mean by results oriented versus goal oriented. You can have a series of achievements and accolades, but if you don't got similar or comparable results, it will not matter to a woman. I'm sorry, not most women. Some women they'll try and play it up because you're the best they can do, but yeah, most women they don't care. All they care about the results. The difference, this was something Jordan Peterson talks about. Men represent order, and women represent chaos. There are positives and negatives of both. You can read his book for that if you want to learn more about that. I recommend that you do that. Of course, he has another one, Beyond Order and Beyond Order. This one, but there were the 12 Rules of Life, Antidote to Chaos as well. I may or may not have it up here. Here we go. Yeah, so you can go read that for yourself. I might dive into that later. I think I might have. I know I've talked about that, but that will play a part in it too. That's why I said some women find value in the chaos. They like that. They like to live that exciting lifestyle, even though they don't really care about all the negative stuff as long as their dude's taking care of that. But let's see here. Shout out to Before the Billions popped in here. But let's see here. So we're just going to make a note of that and just keep that in mind. The order and the concept of order and chaos, because that plays a part in just the way men and women think differently, which we do. And mind you guys, I'm just saying what it is. I'm not saying one is better than the other. Both of them have their perks. Both of them have their weaknesses. And both of them have their benefits. And they're supposed to work together in synergy. So I'm not trying to throw shade on one or the other. I tell you the positives and the negatives as I see them with both. Which is why I'm going to explain what I explained right now. Now, the way men think linear, logical, sequential, a more angular way of thinking. Meaning, as a guy, it's easy for us to focus on one task at hand and try to complete it. Remember when I talk about in the Trials of Men, guys like to solve problems and how playing video games plays on that with most men, and that's why the video game industry with guys is so beneficial to guys today, because it plays on that reward center that all men have, the desire to solve problems. So it also works in the work world where you have to complete a task, and that's why guys are more willing and capable. Aside from additional traits, the honor, they're willing to make sacrifices for their family. Also, when they think linearly, they're thinking into the future as well. They're thinking of how everything influences what they're doing in the process of doing it, because they're thinking of fewer things at a time. They're able to deeply think about things, individual things, complete tasks. They're a bit monotonous, where they're able to focus on one thing over and over again and think very deeply about it. Monotony, one thing that women absolutely do not like. I think that was a word of the day I had. I got to check if it was or wasn't. But monotony. That is one thing that most women do not like. That is like that is like hell to a woman. Just thinking like the same thing over and over again. Well, guys know that that's the benefit of doing the same job for 40 years and retiring. That is something our forefathers did. Our fathers are willing to do. Repeat the same thing over and over again. Things vary day by day, but for the most part, they're doing the same task over and over again. They're monotonous in nature. In the way they think, they're able to think very deeply about something. Now, there are some benefits. There are some downfalls to this. Obviously, the benefit is it usually helps when it comes to completing certain complex tasks. That is absolutely true. You got a project, you got to finish it. You're able to focus in on that project. Now, where the negative comes into play is you're a prisoner of what you know. Meaning, because you're focusing on that one task, you might not broaden your horizon and see something that you might not otherwise see, because you're not relating one or two things together, and you're not able to think dynamically because you're focusing on that one task so thoroughly that you ever know when someone's doing a project and then they invite somebody in on that project because they need new fresh eyes on it, because they ran out of ideas. They ran out of they're looking so thoroughly into that one aspect of the project, it's hard for them to see something they're not seeing. So that's why they might bring somebody in on the project, because it's like, hey, I need some fresh eyes on this, because that's pretty much them saying I ran out of ideas. I don't know, I'm stuck. I can't think. I ran into I'm stuck. Women, on the other hand, the way they think, it's more analogical, circular, curvilinear, and it's a more undulating mode of thinking, meaning they relate everything together. They think, whereas men think of it like this. Men think of one thing, like I said, linear. They think of that one thing very deeply, very thoroughly. Women think of pretty much everything at the same time, like 5 or 6 things at the same time. They're not thinking of that one thing. That's why they can't be monotonous in nature. It's hard for them to do that. Monotony is hard for a woman because she's thinking of multiple things at one time. And she can't, I'm not going to say she can't, but it's hard for her to consistently, focus on that one task at hand and not kind of get sidetracked by something else. This does play a part in the work world. That's why men tend to earn more. And what do women tend to do? They tend to want to go on vacations and stuff, get time off, because they're not monotonous like men are. They can think deeply for a certain amount of time on one thing, but mind you, like I said, they're thinking about multiple things at once. This, however, it can be a benefit. Mind you, the negative is, like I said, they don't think as deeply into a certain task or complete it as thoroughly or quickly as a man can. But remember when I said when that guy gets stuck on that problem, he needs some fresh eyes. This can help when it comes to innovation, because now all her thoughts are kind of connected to where she can come up with things that the guy might not have thought of, because her thoughts are pretty much everywhere, and she relates two things together that the guy, because he's focusing on that one task so thoroughly, he never related the two, and then bam, a breakthrough. Something happens because she suggests something, and now it changes the way he's thinking, and now he's able to focus in on it. Now, mind you, it's still the dynamic between men and women. This is why it benefits us. Because yes, the guy is better at completing a task, but the woman is better at kind of seeing different aspects of the task and kind of brainstorming in a way. So now he's like, she might brainstorm something that he didn't think of, and then he's like, huh, and then he goes to work, and then he's able to solve the problem, and that's where the unity is supposed to work. That's why the dynamic's supposed to work. They're supposed to, bounce off one another and benefit both of them. Sorry, I got the background noise going on. But yes, like I said, there are perks and benefits to both ways of thinking. But the thing is, once we understand how and why things are, then we'll understand why certain, and this is tendencies. Like this is like, okay, like the majority of men are this way by nature. Of course, there's the nature versus nurture thing, but let's be real. Most men are the way that I describe them by nature. And it's just, why would you want to try to make them something that they aren't? It's easier to just allow them to naturally kind of be what they are, and then just promote it and reward it. And then it's better for them to naturally become what they literally evolved over the last millions of years to be. Same thing for women. Femininity is something that has evolved because men desire it for a reason. Remember, without masculinity, without that protection and provision, a woman becomes more masculine because she has to. She has to survive in the world by herself. And femininity does not do that. And here's the kicker of that. I'm kind of going a little bit on the side tangent, but here's the kicker of that. Some guys might look at that and they'd be like, yeah, that's why guys are better, et cetera, et cetera. Well, guess what, guys? Guys are the ones that want femininity. So even though femininity isn't desirable to live out in nature, guys literally fight, die, and do everything within their power to protect it for a reason, because guys value it for a reason. So yes, you can say guys are better survivors, etc., but guess what? Guys are the ones that are dying for it. And that's why I'm saying, like, the dynamic works for a reason. So no, not one's better than the other. Both of them have their jobs. Both of them have their tasks. They're able to benefit the objective, which is to raise the children successfully and prolong their genes and therefore the species, et cetera, et cetera. That's the task. That's the job. And no one is, to be honest, no one is really like perfect at that. It's actually a unison. Like, actually, I was reading some stuff when it comes to raising children. Women are more ideal for raising children. I think it's like below the age of 7, just because of, as a small little child, they're all over the place. You remember the thinking process of a woman? She's able to kind of better relate. Actually, women think more like children than anything for a reason, because they're better able to relate to the child. They kind of can better understand the child. Therefore, when the child does something, she's kind of better able to understand why why the child did what they did, and they can kind of relate it. And then they kind of, they're able to work around it and then teach the child at a young age. And then it's ideal for when the guy comes in, that the child has those basic principles taught by the mother. Of course, that's under the direction of the man, of course, because mind you, it is the household. The guy, men are the order, women tend to be the chaos. Remember that. So it's always under the order of a man, usually when it comes to raising a child. That's why single motherhood is so dangerous. But it is supposed to be, okay, we need the kids to do this, but at the same time, it is hard for a guy to try to teach a little child like that. That literally is just chaotic by nature. That's why he has his wife. He's like, hey, baby, we need to be able to teach the kid how to walk, how to do this stuff, how to walk, how to talk, etc. But he understands it's hell as a guy to try to do that with a kid, because you pretty much, like, they're just chaotic. But she is okay with that because remember, chaos. That's her field. That's where she is chaos. So she's able to tame the chaos better, and then be like, okay, baby, I'll do that part while this little chaotic, with this little chaotic bundle of energy, and she's able to actually keep up with the chaos because she's used to it. She's kind of, in a way, conquered it or subdued it for her husband. So she's able to keep up with the chaos of the child because she has her own. She's understanding of it. Whereas for guys who are more logical, and we're like, why would you do it? Like, I'm sorry, it's shout out to the single father. You kind of know what I'm talking about when you're raising like a little 2, 3 year old, and they just doing stuff that makes absolutely no sense. It gets on your nerves to a point. But at the same time, the woman, she's a little more understanding because that's how she's supposed to be. But then there comes a time where the child learns, they know how to walk, they know how to do all the stuff, they know how to, talk. Well, guess what? Now comes the more complex stuff. Now comes where the child is able to understand stuff. They've gone through the chaotic phase, they've gotten through it, they're more tamed. Now comes father in. He's here to teach order. He's here to teach the more advanced stuff. You know how to walk and talk. I'm gonna teach you how to socialize and how to run. Mama taught you how to walk and talk. I'm teaching you how to socialize and run, how to operate in society, how to become a competent adult. But when you don't have one or the other, of course, there are problems. Children at a young age, if they don't get certain things done, which the mother tends to benefit them, they do develop a certain type of way when they get older. Sociopaths are pretty much learned psychopaths. That's why I said guys tend to have a sociopathic kind of tendency. Sociopathic is taught. It's not you're born that way. You're not born emotionless. You're taught it in a way, and that's why single fathers tend to raise children that might lack a certain quality. Same way single mothers raise children that lack other qualities. Competency and operating in society. That's why the dynamic's so important. It's ideal to have both. Okay. What else? Let's see here. What's the other part? So that's the way of thinking. So I talked about Helen of Troy. I talked about Game of Thrones. That is actually all I got at the moment. There is more. That's just what I have for now. There is more. Of course, I'm still going through the trials of men. Still diving into that. I actually got to get back into like I said, I took kind of a bit of a little hiatus the past few weeks because of some issues at home. I'm actually about to transition over and work. So I got a lot of stuff going on. So, take a little bit of hiatus. I'm still doing a little bit of things here and there. But yeah, leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. Like I said, everybody, this isn't perfecto for everybody, but at the same time, it is overwhelmingly ideal. This is how it is. People can say, "Oh no, that's not how it is," and then I'll be like, "Okay, tell me where it isn't." Then you can tell me a story, then I can tell you exactly how it probably is. Because, like I said, I can't. How am I supposed to prove or disprove a lie? People do lie all the time. I'm just telling you how it is. I don't got to lie about it. You can look at it. Like I said, even celebrities, they aren't exceptions to this. They're not exceptions to the rule. They just got more money. They got certain, and to be honest, sometimes their tendencies are actually on the extreme. If someone's vain, they tend to be more vain. They tend to desire more fame. And then, of course, when they lose it, they tend to lose their mind. So, no, to me, celebrities and rich people are not exceptions. And that's how more absolute kind of this way of thinking is, because it is who we are. I don't got to jump around and be like, nah, that's an exception to the rule, et cetera, et cetera. No, when I say majority, it's I don't mean like 51%, even though that technically is a majority. No, when you talk about something that's damn near close to absolute, when I say majority, I'm talking about like 80, 90%. So when I say the majority of women are this way, the majority of men are this way, I'm talking about 80 to 90%. Of course, there's going to be, and that's the overwhelming majority. Of course, there's going to be the little minorities here and there that'll literally go against whatever for whatever reason. You know, we live in a society where certain traits that might not be fit can survive. But yeah, when I talk about majority, I'm talking about like 80+%. I ain't talking about no like 51% or 50.5%. No, I'm talking about the vast majority. Because what I talk about is more so absolute than anything. It is what it is. And some people they don't want to understand that. That's true. Women don't, they love to win. They don't really look too much into the failures. They focus on the wins they got. Guys hate to lose. That can actually, I've told you about how that can work against you. There are guys that might watch this and they might realize, hey, I'm actually kind of losing, but they feel some type of way. That's fine. I mean, do what you got to do. What I do is not for most people. I'm sorry. Like I already told you, I'm not for average people. I'm looking to be above average. I'm looking to be excellent. I'm looking to be great. I actually got this thing. I'm looking to be perfect. And what I say is, nobody's perfect, right? This is true. I mean, nobody's gonna be perfect. But there is a thing. There is a thing where I say this that nobody's perfect. But to me, perfection is pretty much the pursuit of being perfect. Meaning, I will constantly get better over time till I die. That to me is perfection. Meaning I am constantly getting better. I am always pursuing perfection, even though like I said, even though it's no one's really perfect, but I am always pursuing perfection. That in itself is perfection. To me, that's how I look at it. That's my mindset about it. Therefore, no, I'm not a perfect person. I'm not perfect, but I am. Because I'm constantly, I don't, I said this earlier, get rich or die trying. And to me, get rich is not just, the money. It's also the knowledge and all that stuff too. But when I say that, like when I related to that 56 comment, it is true. I do not see myself not stopping. Either I will get rich or I will die trying. Like I will never stop. I do not see myself stopping whatsoever and taking that failure and being like, yeah, okay, I tried, therefore, yeah, it's whatever. I lost. Now I cannot do that. It is not part of me. I am literally like get rich or die trying. I am for being perfect, which, like I said, being perfect is the pursuit of perfection. And I hope you guys can relate to that. I hope so. So stay tuned for, of course, for more Trials Mentors. Stay tuned for more dives. So, of course, go check out the first episode where I talk about respect in the trials of men. And check out the other content. I do have one upcoming. I'm not sure when I might do this because, like I said, I'm getting back in the swing of things. But I do have a rewind coming up where I will touch on the danger of canvas animals. I'll do a rewind or redive into that, kind of clarify and see where things are. And actually, I was pretty much on point because now, I'm starting to see people talk about the very same thing I was talking about at that time. It's actually the most viewed video I have, even though it was really the thumbnail and the title that really, I think, got the attention it got. But, the quality and everything was, it was okay. But it wasn't because it was awesome by my standards. Like I said, pursuit of perfection, just saying, I'm getting better. But it definitely was the most viewed video I have, when it comes to broadcast, because people that did interest people for various reasons. But it is what it is. So, folks, thanks for joining me for this one. And let me see here. If you feel the need to be generous, you want to support, feel free. I got the priority chat stuff. Of course, you can do it in a live, but feel free. And everything that is donated to me will definitely. I'm gonna get better cameras and equipment because I'm just doing this for fun for me. Not well. I will say for fun because I am getting some pleasure out of this, but at the same time, I am also doing a lot of research that I would be doing anyway. But it's giving me more reasons, to do it and kind of share what I'm finding and everything in that regard. But everything will be going right back into the research. I would like to hire people to help me do research and stuff like that. Do stuff that some of the guys who have bigger channels do. I like researching stuff and looking into stuff and thinking about stuff people don't think about. That's why I made this channel because I feel like okay, people ain't really thinking about this, people ain't thinking about that, and then instead of calling in other people's channels, I'm like, hey, I'll make my own channel and I'll talk about it. But till next time, folks.